What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Something with the Sumners. I'm Damon.
And I'm Katoya.
Oh, we're feeling good today. We're recording this Sunday afternoon. The sun is shining. And we're excited, man, to do this episode with you here. We're going to get right into it. We've been having a blast.
Yeah, we have.
Listen, appreciate the support. The supporters just continue
Always.
to be amazing. And he's like, they keep saying it because we keep meaning that.
Every time.
Every time.
It's not a lie.
Not a lie. No
Real
lies
talk.
there.
Bet. Truth. All facts. Say less. Whatever else the young folks
Whatever
are
else.
saying.
That's, I don't know what they say.
I don't know. I'm not that cool.
We're not that young.
That's
either.
all right. I'm
Once you
accepting
say
it.
whatever the young folks are saying, they just knocks you out of the 25 to 31
I know.
demographic.
I mean, it is true. And I've moved into a new demographic when I select check marks.
Yep.
Now.
That's
and
it.
I get it.
And it's disrespectful, too. It's like 32 to 49. It's like, whoa. Wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute here.
Whoa. Can you make it a little smaller? All right.
Here.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, but that was
Side
tangent.
tangent.
We back.
Got it.
Anyway, so please continue to. We're asking for you just continue to rate and review the podcast. You guys have been doing great, and we want to shout out another person. We want to shout out Bees Down With This. That's the name.
Hey, be down with it.
Be Down With That.
Appreciate it.
Yes. Title, Great New Podcast, simply says, honest, entertaining, relatable, and encouraging.
Yeah, I'm down with all of those.
Team, we don't need everything. We don't need a paragraph from you.
But you can.
You can.
You do whatever you want to do.
You can do whatever you want.
Just please rate, review, and subscribe.
Bang.
And we love that feedback. So thank B. We
Bees
appreciate
Down
it.
With This. Where else
Down
can they
that
find
you're down
us?
with it. Oh, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Just found out you can say, hey, Alexa, and then she'll tell you something too. Hopefully I didn't trigger our Alexa in that moment. But that is a possibility. You can tell her to play Summon Up with the Sumners because we're on Amazon now.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and if you want to see our faces, if you're not looking already, YouTube is another spot. Again, follow, like, subscribe. Appreciate those things. And last but not least, one of our favorite places you can find us is Patreon.
We're building a community over there. You're missing out if you ain't on it. We got some stuff planned. We're excited about coming down the line. But right now we got some bonus episodes that only people on Patreon got. That's exclusive content. So check us out on that, man. We hope that you would consider joining us and just having fun with us because we get a chance to be a little more intimate, a little more personal over on Patreon.
And if you missed it a little bit, Patreon is a place where you can get exclusive content, but you can also support us financially, right? So it's a place to kind of come in and say, you know what? I love you guys, and I want to move into a little bit deeper knowing you guys. So we say Patreon, you're like, oh, that's some new social media thing. It is, but it's also a way to support financially, and we would greatly appreciate that. It's how we can keep the podcast going, give our time, as well as continue to improve and make it better. So
not only that, I mean, as a comedian, my whole world has been upside down. So you're supporting people who we already are rocking with. There's some people already on the bandwagon. We're grateful for that. So it does mean a lot. And if you can, you can. If you can't, we appreciate you listeting and getting into it.
I mean, it's like as simple as $2 a month, though. Like, what is that? That's 8 quarters.
8 quarters.
That's
$20.
$20.
$20.
I think you could probably search around your house every month and find those things. So we're not asking for much. You can
cut your kids' allowance if you got to.
I mean, we just had that talk with Mission today. Talking about how should we reevaluate?
Should we look at this again?
Yeah, it's only $10. I mean, but still, it can be reevaluated. I'm just saying. But seriously, check it out if you haven't even just been on that site yet. Go ahead, look, see. And just skim and see if you're willing to, go into that deeper relationship with us in that way. We appreciate it, but if not, just keep listening. We greatly appreciate that.
Facts. Let's get into it. Let's do it here. Let's talk about it today. Today we're talking about making small things big. Making small things big. This is, I think, the second philosophy that we've kind of created on our own as we've lived life 15 years together, 12 years married in these streets. That's important to know. The numbers matter, God dog it. The numbers matter. And so we talked about weeks ago, the dwellers and shakers.
Yeah.
That's a strong philosophy we have. We'll talk about live with them, play with them, work with them another time in the future.
That's a good one. Gosh, we are good.
We got a few.
Hey, you guys are helping us actually put the things that we say and do all the time down. on paper, because
Yeah.
that is real.
That
Those
is
are
real.
real philosophies that the Sumners hold true, near and dear. And so we're letting you into these nuggets, and that is small things big.
It's important for us,
Yeah.
both relationally as a couple,
Yeah.
and then as parents as well.
Yeah.
If you don't know,
And-
we are a family
and
of
even,
5.
and even financially, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to make small things
Mm.
real big when you're working with, enough, right? So it's a way to like celebrate even in the smallest little areas to say, hey, there's growth somewhere.
Right.
There's excitement
Yeah.
in this step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said it. I feel like I've said it before. I'm a pretty optimistic fella.
Yeah.
Just in general. Victoria's as well. It just looks differently for the both
It
of us
does.
here. And so I really love this perspective, this worldview, whatever we want to call it, for our family, just because what it does for us is that it really does not allow a moment, if we don't want it to, it does not allow a moment to just kind of go dud and just kind of lame out. Like it can take literally any moment that happens, from just like a kid doing something just typical,
Yeah.
to Katoya or myself just doing something ordinary or mundane, and then we can just blow it up and make it into a party, into fun, into support, into encouragement. And so it's just one thing that we've just really we take pride in trying to do as much as we can, if we're honest with you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we want to share with you today because hopefully you can see value in kind of taking this and running with it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, so let's jump into the first. I think one piece is that celebrating small victories, like
All
this
right.
specifically. Celebrating small victories is really important because if we're honest, there's a lot of defeats. 2020 out here trying to kick everybody butt. And so whenever you get a small victory,
Boo.
whenever you get a small victory or someone gets a small victory, we want to try to really like encourage and uplift and really kind of just bring it up for a moment,
Yeah.
and just make it a big thing.
Right.
I think let's start with parenting.
Sure.
Right?
Because that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Um,
So we got 3 kids.
we do have 3 children.
Let's start with the youngest.
We do.
Grace.
It's kind of hard because I want to almost think about like some of the small, like you brought it up earlier, because this is one we got to really think of a lot of examples.
Yes.
And y'all know that like I'm not the best at that on the whim, but small things are big, right? We can start. There's a lot. Quarantine party. I just looked at the video, so I can kind of go from there for Everett Grace. I can think of that's a celebration, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one way that we celebrated Everett's birthday this year was to have a quarantine dance circle, because she was in the middle. She was in May of the quarantine.
Right, when we was kind of figuring out the pandemic.
We were like, oh, there's a real problem here.
Mm-hmm.
We can't even have parties or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So in order to make her, a new year in life is definitely a big deal. But how do you still kind of showcase this party and kind of celebrate her? So we did this big dance circle, and that was a big party. So we were able to celebrate her. It's a small thing, or it wasn't so much that her birthday was a small thing, but it was just like how do you kind of make this happen in the middle of a pandemic?
So what did it look like?
So we had a big dance circle. So we invited friends out. We got into one big circle in our favorite parking lot. And we put a loudspeaker, and we got about 5 of her favorite hits. And people came out and stood in front of their cars and danced.
That's it.
And so we made, it didn't cost a lot of money.
No,
we
it didn't.
got some special cookies
It did
made. And we danced and had a good time, and she loved it. Like that's almost on the side of creativity, that's not what I'm trying to say, because I'm never really that creative. But the idea of just like, hey, we're shorthanded here, but how do we still try to make this moment something really special and unique for her?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was big. I mean, even just that was a great example, just even specific with her, just like Potty Training, that's always a huge thing.
Yeah.
And just her being the last one, praise be. The last one of our family had to go through potty training. Just like in those moments, for example, just as a parent, when you're trying to work that out and somebody pees in the potty for the first, the second, the fifth, the 22nd time, yo, we dancing, we making a song.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. You
Yeah.
did it.
We did
Whoop,
it.
whoop. And we would do it big. And that was just kind of those small
Yeah,
moments.
and if you're just my friend and you follow me on social media, we do that with all of them. So even with Liv, it literally was like, you pee in the party, in the party. And she would just be dancing, just excited. So the Sumners will celebrate hard. Just
Hard.
whole family jam session of music to celebrate whatever it is. And so PP and Potty was one of them.
That was a big one.
But maybe it just happened once that day, right? It wasn't like you finally got it. Of course, we want you to hear it, we finally get it, but we want to celebrate you because we know that lifted and transformed the spirit of the moment for her to feel extremely successful.
Yeah.
So that's like making something small.
Yeah. Mission, we lifted him up when he was reading at an early age here. He would read a word just out here in the streets. That's when you know you're a reader. Katori said this the other day to somebody. She was like, when you just able to just walk around in these streets, I'm like, stop. Pickle. Like, oh, you're a reader now.
Kitchen.
That's it.
You don't have no context?
Okay.
And you know how to read words straight out?
When a kid can look over my shoulder and read my text message, that's when we got to go ahead and shut that down.
You're a reader. It's official. No, that's true. But just celebrating that and being like, oh my gosh, you really like to read. I mean, it's so good for kids because they're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this is something really big. Another one that really like highlights for me is like Evergrace. She is a really good example because she's just so young, but we're constantly on her about, she's learning so many new words and vocabulary. She's a great speaker, but sometimes it's not always put well in the right way, so it comes off rude. And I'm like, that's not what you can say. I'm glad you picked that up from somewhere, but that's not the way you can say it to us. So just kind of like learning that or using manners or things like that. So when they do that independently, you're like, oh, Evergrace.
Oh, sure.
Oh, did you just say? Look at that. Thank you.
Okay.
May I please have this?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, yes, you can.
Yeah, you better get two, why don't you?
So there's quite this celebration for small things. It could be things, and it's easy because it's easy to say for things like, duh, you should do that.
Right.
But I'm learning you learn real quick with kids that, that's not it all the time. They don't always just get it. They don't know it. It has to be taught. It has to be trained. It has to be celebrated. It has to be disciplined. It has to have a lot of work to actually like ingrain in most parts. So just celebrating the smallest accomplishment that can be done independently for growth for a kid.
There's something about it. I don't have the stats. You can look them up because I know they're there to back it up. But encouragement and just positive words, they mean so much just to our psyche.
Of course.
And we're talking parenting right now, but please understand, this goes for friendships, work relationships, romantic relationships. This is talking about people. And specifically, if you want to talk about marriage and relationships, rest assured that this goes right in line with that. And saying that, I want to give one more example specifically as a parent because Liv Eden is our oldest daughter, and she is a go-getter. She's got her mind focused. One months ago, I think we were watching a movie and somebody was flying a plane and they were struggling. And I said something. I was like, you know what, Liv? You think you can fly a plane? She looked me straight in my eyes and said, yeah, I can fly a plane. I can fly a plane right now. Well, excuse me.
She believes she can really do it. I actually had to reverse it with her. I think I told you, hey, you know that takes professional training.
You got to be certified.
Yeah.
But she is getting into gymnastics here, just like on her own, just in general.
Yeah.
And so, her cartwheels.
Listen.
Tell them.
The way she started doing cartwheels.
Sloppy.
We were like,
good.
Yeah, good.
That's
a good cartwheel.
Oh, we put her in a trade school.
Yeah, we watched I did a YouTube video with her during quarantine. It was part of PE time. So all right, we'll do a YouTube video teaching us kind of baseline of gymnastics because World had just shut down before we actually could get her into classes. And so we did that. We learned a little bit. I was her little coach for 2 classes. And then I, of course, didn't keep that up. But she was like, no worries, Mom. Chick learns how to do the best cartwheels ever. And we all make her feel absolutely fantastic.
Hey, y'all want to come over to the house. But watch Liv do it.
Let her do it. Watch Liv do that cartwheel.
Do your cartwheel.
Woo, girl. Good job.
Put your hands on the ground.
Man, that's so perfect.
I could never do a cartwheel as a kid.
Done that. And she just gleaming.
Just both.
If she was a sim, she just have aura all over her. Just meet her up, just feeling real good. And that's what you want. It's true because we made this.
It's a cartwheel.
It's a big accomplishment in her world, but it's a small thing, and we blow it up out of proportion for excitement and for that boost. And I we don't want to. You're not trying to be super self-help or anything, but this is just something that really seems to work well, for anyone. Because who doesn't want to feel good?
Who doesn't?
And it's just so much easier to see that with children because they feel so proud and accomplished, especially if it's just the smallest thing. Or if you're like, I've been getting on mission like night and day, and he's just like, Mom, you're getting on me. So I'm like, all right, let me refocus the way I'm viewing the situation to highlight those moments of like success, you know, of just, yes, ma'am, of just, you know what, you're sure I can do that, of, oh man, let me go pick that up. Just those small things. I'm like, wow, thank you, Misha. And it can seem sarcastic if you don't look at
Deliver
it
it
correctly.
right. Deliver it right.
Or the first time you might try doing this a little bit more. People might be like, okay, you're trying to be funny. But it's not. It's like, no, I'm really going in and
well done. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And listen, if you don't have kids, you know, we're going to get into specifically adults in a minute here. But hopefully, again, this is just something, not just, this is also how Katoya and I towards one another, like just the support and the value when you're talking about a relationship, whatever that may look like. It's just, I think there's something in the fact that, you know, we're going to go back to care and compassion.
Yeah, because it's not like big celebrations all the time. It's just, oh, you notice this? Oh, like you
noticing
can affirm almost, you know?
Recognition.
It's really like an affirmation that you give to whoever you're caring about in a relational way, parent, child, spouse, friend, any of that, and just saying, man, shout out to that. So just to put our minds a little bit better into that perspective to see how we can boost up some of the relationships.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to see that with kids, of course, but when we think about it for ourselves, I probably shared a little bit more, I can like some of that mission in me to just kind of go downward and be like, woe is me a little bit. But a lot of times, even for myself, I've had to practice that understanding of making my own small accomplishments big, you know, from social media being a distraction to looking left and looking right. It's so easy to do that. I hate that still takes place, but it does. It's just human nature. You have to kind of snap yourself back out of that and like just be proud of what you've done, right? So making small things big is even for yourself, right? Like I do really believe as humans we're just waiting for the big celebration in ourselves, right? I made it to this, but small things. I'm always trying some new attempt at finding out a diet that works best for me, right? Like I'm all down for it, but if I can't keep it consistent, then it doesn't work well, right? So just to celebrate myself, you know, I'm like, today was a success.
Come on.
All right, I logged my meals, I prepped my meals, I drank my allotted water. Check mark. Today was a success. Don't make it big by trying to eat something you shouldn't. But just celebrate the fact that you can check the mark off that today was successful. We're not talking about the last 2 or 3 weeks. Talking about today. Yeah. Today is what matters, okay? So just celebrating like a small moment of something. Like making almost like, I think for personal small things big, it's really like reviewing your growth towards your bigger goal. Because I know I can easily be like, big goal. But to just one step. You know,
one step.
I made the step. I made one step toward the bigger goal, and I'm celebrating that for myself to see that as progress.
Yeah. Big up yourself, man. Treat yourself. Hashtag on them. It's important because we talked about on another episode when we was talking about the relationship myths, about that nobody's going to complete you, that we're coming into a relationship as a whole person. So our own growth, our own value, our own self-worth is something to be aware of, to be something to be recognized, something to be honored in yourself. Like, sure, I appreciate and definitely am grateful for Katoya's admiration and affirmation when it comes towards me, but I feel good when I get, 4 or 5 things done off my to-do list. I'm a to-do lister. I'm a lister. You understand? I got my little Excel sheet. I got my database. I'm a lister. Okay?
This is me imitating Damon all the time.
That's not funny. If you can see that, it's not funny.
That's him on the keyboard. Oh, you're right. Now everybody's watching. That's me typing away on a computer, emailing somebody.
Anyway, what I'm saying is like, so there's something about you feeling good about yourself, so that as you pour out and you give and you love and you serve with the family, with your with whoever you're with, right? You're coming in feeling good. You're hopefully more likely give that back out. And so
Right.
I think there's just something just to be recognized. And when we're talking about making small things big, it's not just for outward, it's also for an inward piece as well.
That's true.
But now let's not get it flipped. There is also definitely something that comes with it of when you're doing outward. Like when I want to find moments to celebrate Katoya and either something that she's done or that she said, or maybe it could be something physical, it could be something, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That's something that I'm trying better each day. I'm not gonna say I'm always killing it out here, but I want to take time to be like, man, like I really see her trying to maximize this goal, right? She's out here trying to get this certification. Bet I see her out here grinding. Oh, she working on her jumps and her flips because she a jump rope artist out here. One tuck, two tuck, you know what I'm saying? Spin, back four, double dutch, you know what I'm saying? Got the weighted rope. I know the lingo. And so, you know what I'm saying?
You always trying to know some lingo.
I know, I just write notes down so I can watch and so I can see, and I want to support that. So there's also an element of that when you're talking about making small things big. It's just to be, if there's something to it, to be more aware. And I'm gonna say this because it's a generalization, but sometimes we live in a world with generalizations. Fellas, specifically, challenge to you: just be more aware. All right, the streets be talking. The ladies are talking out here on social media. Y'all ain't aware. Y'all ain't listening well enough, fellas. We got to do better. I'm say we got to do better with listening and being more aware. And then just make those small things big.
You can say we, but Damon's actually really good at it. I will give you. Look at me making that small thing big for him right now. That. But no, he does. He does a really good job in noticing that. Like, and a lot of times it makes me think about people like, how can what's attractive? I've heard this question like, well, when is your spouse most attractive or something like that? And people, when this question was asked around lots of women, it was like all these things that their husband had done for them, right? It had nothing to do with like what makes you. It
Physical
was like
stature.
No, like it was like married people, and it was like when are you like most attracted to your spouse? And it was like when they. This is just responses from married women, and it was just like. Oh, when he washed the dishes, when he, when watches the kids for me, when the kids are put away, when he like schedules this for me, it was service.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing because, that makes me think about the whole myth. When we just went through myths last week talking about. We brought up sex or whatever, but it's like the time element. Like so many things compete, and it's like when you love in a serving way, I'm pretty sure you'll get back some greatness in the way you might want it because of that. Because now I'm attracted to you because you're loving me by serving or by acknowledging. Like because Damon will be like, oh, mom did this. Let's celebrate it. Now things look different for us a lot. I feel like we celebrate each other. Or make small things big sometimes in a family sense because that's also something we want to teach our children. So I think we have tons of examples where as a family one person may decide to do this for the other. But that idea where you're saying I noticed this and now let's celebrate that. That's just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, for noticing this, for saying, hey, why don't you go out the house this weekend? I'll watch the kids. Things like that. Sir, from a woman's perspective, let me tell you, you do that stuff. Hey, babe, I know you really like to keep your nails done. I got your gift certificate. Granted, it's the same money. Maybe or maybe not. But if it is, then you're like, okay, I don't care that you did it. You thought of something that I might have wanted that I'm not making time for. So it's again like making small things big is also just being aware and paying attention and like putting someone else's needs, care, acknowledgement in front, out in the open, and addressing it. So
yeah, it's crucial.
Yeah,
it's crucial here, and we, cause I can give you a whole laundry list of things that Katoya does for me.
Yeah,
that's it.
We could. It's fine. It's good.
I do think though it's interesting. One of the reasons why I really appreciate this for us as a family, and especially as a couple, is that I personally feel that as humans, as people, we can lean towards the negative. We can lean towards the rant and sending the Yelp review when things don't go well, or when somebody does something that they either should do or know to do, or vice flip it on its head, you've asked them to do more in a relationship and they do it, we just kind of mums the word. We just kind of hush hush, right? And so with
because
this,
you're like, that's what you should be doing.
yeah, do it every day, right? And sure, there's a place for that. Right. However, right, let this energy and this we're talking about trying to have healthy relationships, thriving relationships, and right? Fun relationships.
Switch the mentality and perspective, right? So now you're assuming the best of someone versus you should have done. I done told you.
Yes.
Going
the
down
nag,
that
the
one.
pester, right? And so that's not gonna help, right? There's gonna be a time where y'all might get into the spat and gotta have hard conversations. But am I putting too much energy, or is my first go-to response, my first thought process going to the why you ain't right? And if that's the case, it's like let me keep working on that, right? Maybe you're both, right? Man, woman, whoever, it don't matter. Husband, relationship, it don't matter, right? They're struggling with certain chores. You just can't put the dishes in the dishwasher, right? You say that for a couple of weeks, couple of months. Some of you listen like, Damon, it's been 14 years. I understand, boo. Keep holding on. Keep holding on. Either way, you come in after saying it, y'all talk about it bit, right? You come in, they done, right? And then you don't say anything. It's like, I don't need.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to. Now, to be clear, you don't necessarily have to. But it don't hurt.
It'll push it.
It don't hurt, right?
You might see it more often.
Right? You know, just those small things. And that's what that's just an example of one way to kind of have this thing. It can go literally anything. Go to the bedroom. It go to the kids. It can go with the finances. But just finding those moments to try to change that mentality and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a little bit of honor. I'm gonna give you a little bit of affirmation. Hit it with a fist bump. Boom. Hit a little smack. We don't kiss enough. That's another conversation. Not us, but just in general as people. It's just too much. Hit him with a couple smooches out here. Thank you, boo. Boom. Pat him on the butt. Like, put a little pep in that step.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you.
That was.
It was. We've been talking about who's more affectionate in this house and not, and I feel like he want a little bit of that. I feel like he was just trying to secretly tell y'all something to me.
That's funny.
It's okay, but that's how it goes. Sometimes when you're saying stuff, you realize oh snap, that could work better for me too. I'm just saying, it's true. It is true, but that is true. Like how many relationships are I'm telling you, man, from the in and out of day to day, you do lose some of that like. That easy affection, right? Because you're just like, hey, how you doing? I'm just trying to get home. Got the kids. Got this. Got to do this. Got to study for this. Got to do it. Take a break. Mm-hmm. Kind of have the affectionate moment. Make sure you acknowledge each other. Support through noticing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
make those small things big. If whoever's not the cook of the relationship, they pop up with the meal. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. I got some chicken breast out here and put some green beans on the plate with some seasoning.
It might not have been as good as you.
It might not have been that good. You probably would have did it better because you the chef of the house.
But they tried their best.
They tried their best, though. They tried their best.
And that's literally it. Like our kids even say that. Ooh. You tried your best? Oh. They be doing everything.
Listen here. Listen to me before we get out of here.
Mission burnt some biscuits today. He was like, my biscuits like that bacon. They are not letting your bacon go down well.
I tried them. That's the last time in my life.
I think you told them the story already. I think
I ain't gonna repeat it.
David burnt some bacon and Liv was like, you tried your best.
You tried your best. She meant
took
that.
A bite.
So sincere. Like,
let me not tell you how bad it is, but you tried your best.
With the at the end. You tried your best, I did.
But even that, like, to hear our 6-year-old come from that perspective instead of saying, ooh, daddy, this bad, because that's what Evergrace would say, right? But then if we could look at Evergrace, and if she said, Dad, you tried your best, I'm like, Evergrace, that was really good for you to choose good words. I would celebrate that moment for her because it's not her strength.
And you know what? I don't think you were there that day. I made it in the oven because that's the only way I make bacon now.
Yeah. Oh.
And
okay, go ahead.
And I made it, and when they was taking it, they were nervous. Let me be honest. They were nervous when I brought bacon back out there. You cook bacon again? Okay.
He's going for it again, guys.
Mission held his stomach. He was like, all right. And I brought it out. They said, it looks good. They took a bite or two. Dad, this bacon is great. I was like, thank you.
And when I was there at the start, but I left before they ate it. And when I came back, they're like, Mom, Dad made bacon today, and it was so good.
Dang. Guess what I'm doing next time? Bacon.
Yeah, shout out to all of the reviews that helped him decide that. They was like, how you cook bacon? And everybody chimed in.
They did chime in. They did. Everybody
share their inputs. Yeah.
Talk about
and I'm just like, it's not that difficult. I'm a skillet bacon maker.
She's a skillet.
Or an air fryer bacon maker. Yeah. But oven, sure, whatever. It takes like extra 10, 15 minutes. But if it's to get it perfect, great.
It was some good bacon.
And the kids supported that. And they even made that small thing big for their dad. And that goes to say that even what we demonstrate will be shown to your house, right? So that can be as a friend, right? That could be like, oh man, so-and-so is always encouraging me. Next time I'm up, it'll be my time. As parents, kids are watching. So now they can start seeing, oh, let me say it like that instead. So it's just a feel good thing, right? Just make you feel good. I'm all here to feel good. I think there's enough feel bad that we can give our own selves. So let's put some more of the feel good.
Especially outside the house. When we come home from work, in the commute, and from school, and if you're in college or wherever you're doing with your life, and you come in the house, we want our house to be a great place. You want it to be where you kick your feet up. Yeah. And so this philosophy, this worldview, whatever we want to call this perspective, is something that, if you're already doing it, keep crushing. If it's something that you're like, man, we can kind of level up with that in our relationship, level up. We're still working on it. It ain't perfect. We can get better with it. We can be more consistent with it. But when you come home, you want your house to feel great. And so this is something that just helps us as a family and as a couple to feel great.
Right. I think another way that we can kind of make some small things big is, one, of course, you guys know we're still recording this in the pandemic, so you have to get creative. You have to try new things. But I'm thinking like everybody's longing for vacations or longing to do this. But just making a family, like we get in the car and we're like, hey, we all in the car.
Come on.
And we're rocking out to our favorite playlist all together, singing songs. And this is now a fun, cool moment for us as a family. We do these recaps throughout our day as a family, like how was your day, and it's live, eat, and again it's like, in this moment is a favorite part of my day. It's just our family all together, and that's really sweet. Like, just to say, this is not a very big thing, but it's a small thing, but we're making it big just because we're all together and we're starting a new game at the table. Like a car ride, small thing, big. We have a car ride. Recently, we started telling a story line by line as a family in our car. So one day, so-and-so went to here. All right, now Evergrace, pick the story up one sentence at a time. And now it's like, ooh, this is something fun that we can do in the car and making memories. Now, this is from a family perspective, and it's just your relationship together. You can get creative in the ways that you take that on with your relationships, whether they be to friends, to spouses, to family. But try something that's small and see if you can make it bigger.
Yeah, add some magic to it. Add some pizzazz.
Yeah.
Don't eat at the dining room table tonight. Eat somewhere different.
Yeah.
Eat on the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Boom.
Maybe it's steps.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, eat in the car.
Put down a blanket.
Yeah.
And then be like, man, we eating like this tonight. Oh my gosh. What? Can we eat like that again? Like, boom. I don't know if it's our kids. They're easily impressed. But, small things make them excited. And that's a great philosophy. It X's out the need for lots of money. X's out the need for buying expensive gifts. Yeah. Yeah, you ain't got to spend a whole bunch of money to make somebody feel good.
Oh, baby.
Your words, the service is another way to make this feel good.
All those are great.
This is how we do it. So
let us know what you think. Try it out. Let us know what you did. I would love to know what you did to try to make something big when you listen to this in the next week or so. But listen, that's going to do it for us. Hope you are finding value in the podcast. We're having a blast making it. Continue to support, man, just with the rating and the reviews. You guys have been amazing.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Keep that going. Continue to check us out and subscribe on YouTube. Again, we're trying to level that up. Full video content. And of course, as always, check us out. Get into this community with us for those bonus episodes and exclusive content on Patreon. Summing up to Sumners. I'm Damon.
Katoya.
We'll see y'all next time.
Week.
Bye.
Bye.